I mean, when you look at the parable that the prophet Noble Drew Ali spoke about, which was called the 7 bridges, we could conceivably break that down into 7 men. The prophet said, look up and see the 7 bridges crossing the sky. You know that Marcus Garvey came first, because the prophet tells you that Marcus Garvey was the runner-up. This is a new era in time. Then the prophet, you have 2. This is one way I debate with myself about, because the prophet says, I have the Asiatic and I have the European. I have the silver and I have the gold. I have the world in a jug and a stopper in my hand. So, for now, I'm going to say Farad Muhammad at 3. At 4, El Hajj El Malik Shabazz. 5. No, excuse me, I missed one. I missed from Far to Elijah to El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. Far to Elijah. We're gonna have to edit that one and just break it up. You know what I mean? So that's from, from Far to Elijah. Then you get El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. Then you get, at 6, the Father of Allah, Clarence 13X. Then you get at 7, Imam Isa, or whom you affectionately know as Dr. York, York L. The older Moors did not see the signs of the prophet. They were too busy fighting each other. Some people may say, well, that wasn't actually written down anywhere as an excuse to keep up with their infighting. They'll use that as an excuse. They said when Napoleon, I did some research, they said when Napoleon went into Tamore, or what you know as Egypt today, he brought with him 200 savants. And when they left, they came out with the PAL battery.
Nobody went to get dusty, right? Damn, the store closed.
I know you went to the car to see if we had something.
They came out with the PAL battery. A savant is one that has mental ability beyond the scope of normal human brain activity. So whereas our brain may function in certain parts on, at certain different occasions, a savant brain interacts with each other probably since birth or some traumatic event. The people that can't handle this strain, they become autistic. The 5%ers have the ability to memorize things good, and brothers in the Nation of Islam. But we're going to speak to the 5%ers right now. Why couldn't I take you as a 5%er and go and reverse what Napoleon did? Because he went up into Egypt and came out with technology. Well, they took all of our stuff and put it up in the law books. So why I can't go up into their law libraries with 200 savants? 200 savants. Bring out our own currency or our own electricity. Look at the Nation of Islam. These brothers have a trained, disciplined army. The fruit of Islam, they eat 1 meal per day. They have a trained army. The Moorish Quran gives you all of the signs necessary. The old heads were too busy fighting with each other to see the signs. It says that white-clad soldiers marched in front of the tomb of Jesus. And it said they marched and counter-marched, which is the same march of the Nation of Islam. It's a counter-march that they do. Why didn't those Moors of the temple step to those brothers and say, look at the pieces that were missing. Let's merge here. And now we've just solidified our own militia, of which we have the constitutional right to have.
They don't want no counter.
Look at the Nuwapians. They are breakdown masters. They are masters at breaking, they'll break a doctrine down. They can break a doctrine down to its bare essence. You ain't see, we have to admit, we haven't seen too many works come out by anybody that showed the etymology of words before until we start reading Dr. York books. It made you stress the etymology of a word.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I have my savants working with my lawyers, my lawmen, temple, with the religion and all that, ecclesiastical, my breakdown artists, interpreters, speak second tier layman. First tier layman for me is that hood talk. I just gotta keep it official. You know what I mean? But it's a missed opportunity. The prophet said he came to unite Asia. 5%ers call themselves the Asiatic black man. The Nation of Islam call themselves the same. How are you going to unite Asia if you can't even come together? Can't even come together.
They're like individuals, that's why.
Can't do business together. Why aren't the Nation of Islam and the 5% nation engaging in daily commerce? Why? Nation of Islam brothers look good walking out there. The prophet said, look your best, Moors.
Mm-hmm.
When do we shed the street, that street mentality? This one brother told me I ain't rocking a Fez of 5%, brother, whom I think is a good brother. He said, yo, Abba, I can't put a hoodie on the Fez. We have a prime opportunity right here. So, if Farrakhan or one of his minions may come across this missive, you know what I mean? May come across this missive, then it's time to start taking things into consideration, because that's what gods do. Right? Gods take things into consideration. And God said, let there be light. And he saw that the light was good. So that means he had to make a consideration, because on the scale of opposites, there has to be something at the other end of the spectrum. Not necessarily saying that night is bad, but he had to make a consideration that things thrive from the sun. This is what gods do. It's time to make considerations about our futures and how we're going to push forward. Because the same old way is not going to work. The time of fiery rhetoric is over. It hasn't worked. The people don't hear that. I mean, what's the use of riling the people up? And they're still broke. The children are worse than ever. The incessant homosexuality being aired on television daily. There's a McDonald's commercial in France right now about a gay teen and his father. A McDonald's commercial. When do we as a people say this is enough? When do we start to look to the solutions and not focus on the problem? When? Nobody don't want to come together and do that. Nobody wants to come together and say, yo, it sounds like you have part of the solution. They don't want to say that at all. Because I can say, you have a part of the solution. You have a standing army. Ready to go to war. What he said, clean the earth? I got soldiers in the street that will clean the earth with you. I'm just saying, you know. This is just speaking to the people in general. I had to take this little segment and go in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had to.
Still recording, yo. You pause it.
I mean,